Namaste. Good morning to one and all present here. I am Dr. J. Nafisa Begum, Professor and Head Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Government College of Engineering, Barkur. As part of the Digital Teaching and Learning Faculty Development Program organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Islamia College, Vaniambadi, I am here to give my inputs on digital teaching and learning through the Moodle Genomio platform. As we are all aware, during this COVID-19, we have been experiencing a lot of surge in this digital technology by way of conducting classes through Google Meet, Cisco WebEx, Zoom, and also attending so many meetings and webinars. It's high time that we become familiar with this digital teaching and learning, for which this Genomio is a very good platform. It's a cloud platform which will be helpful for us to develop the content, put the content into the website, and allow our students to disseminate, learn the knowledge. And also, we have many facilities in this genomio.com. Once we try to explore it, we'll be becoming familiar with those things. So my presentation is based on design, develop, and deliver through Moodle. It consists of the following agenda: website creation, creation of a new course, open educational resources, material creation, enrolling users, quiz creation, assignment creation. So a basic thing is we need to create a course, add materials to it. We need a website on which this course is being added. And once we have a website, we put a course in that. We can have any number of courses in that. We have to enroll users so that students are able to access our materials. And then we also need to do some assessment. So there are many facilities like quiz creation, assignment creation, etc. So coming to website creation, when you Google as genomio.com, you will be getting a listing of websites, in which the first one will be genomio.com. When you click it, you will get directly will get a screen like this which says you can create your site. You have to give a name with the 2 to 32 lowercase letters. Remember that no hyphens or any special characters are allowed. Once you create this website, you cannot change the name of the website, but you have the liberty of creating as many websites as you want. You can just give your email ID, and when you click this, I have read and agree with the terms and conditions, a site will be created. So I have given the name as JNB Digital Teaching genomio.com. So once you create, you get a notification like this, and you will also get a notification in your mail ID. It will be like this. Your site address will be given, followed by your username and password. Here I have just hidden my username password for security purpose. So it will take a few minutes. Once you, sometimes it may end up in a spam also, you have to check it. So this is the first step. Create a website. You will be getting an admin and password. So using the admin and password, now you can enter into your website. See here, gnbdigitalteaching.genomio.com. When I enter it, I'll get this screen. I'll give the admin and password. After giving admin and password, I'll get the screen. You have a dashboard which will tell you, which will give an idea of what is there in the website. You have a site home, calendar, private file, site administration. So whenever you want to add users, you want to add questions, you have to go to this site administration. When you want to go to the course, actual course, you want to make some changes, you have to go add material, go to site home, and from there you can easily navigate. So once you enter into the website, you get a message saying that register your site is not registered. The idea behind this is if you register your site, you will become aware of whenever a new plugins or add-ons are added to the Genomio.com. You will get an idea and you can use it for developing and your content. So once you agree, your thing will be registered, and now onwards, whenever there is any notification on the thing, you will be getting it in your mail ID so that you can use it. Here also you will get the notification. So it is very helpful if you register your site. So now you can see it is giving add a new course. So when I press the site home, I'll get this, and there is a thing saying available courses, add a new course. So this is the first step. So before adding the course and adding the course material, I would like to emphasize that try to record your own lectures using screen recorders, example Screenocast-Matic, screen recorder, etc., which will be very helpful. Have soft copy of your PPT, PDF and other references which can be added. No harm in using others' material as long as there is no copyright infringement. Try to use the open educational resources and resources with common creative license. So, for example, what we try to do is, I will first show you how we can find out what are all the open educational resources. So, if you go to Google, it is a very important and point that you should always try to use open educational resources. So in the Google search, when you suppose I want to have materials about algorithms, so when I give algorithms, and you will get all these listings, there is an option called settings in Google. So if you give that setting and you give advanced search option, in the advanced search option, in the last thing, when you just scroll down, um, you will have a statement saying that usage rights. In that usage rights, you have to say free to use, share, modify, even commercially. So when you give that, it is on the safer side. You will get all material which is very free to be used, and nobody will be putting a case on you so that you can use that. Similarly, you have options of other courseware which are freely available. For example, I am just putting University of Pittsburgh OER, Open Educational Resources. You can see a listing is coming, and I can go for that OER collection and use the material so that it will be within the judicials. So there is no point, and I don't have to worry that I'm using somebody else material, and nobody can question me. Similarly, you can also try to use from when you go to YouTube, and in YouTube, in the search option, you give some search option. For example, I give here algorithms again, okay, because I'm basically a computer science student, computer science faculty. So when I give this algorithms, there is an option called filter. So in that filter, you try to give Creative Commons. So Creative Commons means there are, in that also there are some 4 options which allows you to either use it for education purpose, for adding content to it and using it. So like that, so many facilities are there, you can use it. So what we have seen now is how to create a website using genomio.com, and once you create, you have to register so that you will become an admin. The next steps will be to create users and give materials to them. And before creating the courses, we also have an idea of what do you mean by open educational resources. So try to use open educational resources so that you will not have any copyright infringement or intellectual property rights violation. We have seen how to use that in our Google search as well as in YouTube. Even there are so many other things like Pixabay, I think, where you can also, it's a open educational resource. So you can try to use it's a copyright free. So you can use the images from that in your Google you have to give. Okay, so these are the things which is covered under the first part. Thank you. How to add a course. So when you go to your website JNB Digital Teaching genomio.com and press the site home, you will get the screen like this. See, always this gear button is very important. Whenever you want to do any editing, you have to use it. You can see it pops up everywhere whenever you want to do it. So initially I have added one course which is digital forensics. Now I would like to add another one. So just check whether this turn editing on should be. If it is on, you just click it. So now only when you click that, you will get a tab here saying add a new course. Okay, and we can also add some activity. Suppose you want to have any announcement here, you can give a announcement to the students. So now when you go to add a new course, you will be directed to a page where you need to give the course full name. For example, I am giving data structures and algorithms. Data structures and algorithms. And you can give a short name for that, DSA. Course category we can manage. Suppose you want to have separately, you want to have management courses, you want to have UG courses separately. Like that, you can manage in your site administration, manage courses and categories. And then you can put this in that category. So here we have not, I have created for digital forensics PG 2020. So in that I can add. Now I want to have DSA in a separate thing. Suppose I want to, I put it as CS computer science courses, I can add it. We give other information like what are the things, when the course is going to start, when the course is going to end, where we can give any course ID for that. Let us say DSA1, or I can use my short name JNB1, like that. Then you give a short description about the course. We can give some input like this course will teach, like that. I'll make it very small one. This course will give insight into basic data structures. Okay, if you want, we can also add a video here, an audio recording, any picture, any link. We want to give a link in that, you can always do that. So after that, if you want, we can give the course summary file. For example, if I am able to get some PDF regarding my syllabus, I can add it. Okay, so this is the basic thing. So for example, I will try to put some PDF I can download. Better you have all these things ready so that you can have it. Okay, so we can just add it to our system. So once you do it, now you coming to the course format, it gives topic format. So there are many formats like video, weekly formats, topic format, single activity, like that. So how many sections you want? So normally in our education system we have 5. So like this we have it. And then uh, height sections, appearance, how it should be, like that we can give all these things, then save and return. So the course will be created. Now you can see you have a course under manage courses. When you go, you will come across this data structures and algorithms. So you click that. Now again, so what are the topics it is given? Okay. So now again in site administration, you see whether you have made this as. Now we need to add the contents to the course, which is very important. So to add the contents to the course, we can go to the site and then we can make changes. So this is the data structures and algorithms. First check whether the editing is enabled. Okay. So after the editing is enabled, if you want, we can have any announcement here. So we can say that start of the course, or sometimes we can upload the course plan here. What are the activities we are going to do? So like that we can put it here. So this is starting. When you press enter, it will be edited. Now in topic 1, we can be very specific. For example, here I am entering linear data structures. Linear data structures. So this is the topic name I am giving. Unit 1, like this I can give. Okay. So when you press enter, it is getting entered. So like this you can add all the topics you want. Non-linear data structures. Unit 2. Okay, so how many units you want, you can add it. You can always add the number of units. You can see here add topics. So if you want more than 5, you can always keep adding. So this is the structure of the course which we have created. Now the main important thing is adding the resources to this. So in linear data structures, I want to give content regarding the stacks, queues, etc., which are considered as linear data structures. So there is an option here called add an activity or resource. We have to click that. So if you go through it, what are the list of activities which are allowed are given here: assignment, chat, choice, database. The course or the website becomes more useful when we try to use the features to our benefit. Okay. So here, similarly, for resources, we can add a book, file, folder, IMS, page, URL. So for example, if we can go to, when we say file, we can include any anything which is available, any content which we would like to add. Okay, so now I am telling I am going to use this thing. I can say URL or a page or file, whichever I want, I can give. One more thing I would like to tell is we have the limit as 100 MB allowed for the course, but we can always try to use our Google Drive, put all the data, all files in that, and we can also use it if we are going to exceed. Okay. So now if I want to use a page, I will give page continue. So you can see you get a, in that unit 1 you can add this thing. Okay, page. So what I want to give, for example, I can give class notes. Okay, notes on tags. So like this I can give. So descriptions, again I'm making it fast because we have to cover so many things. So after giving that, we can also give the page content. So for example, here what we can do is, suppose I want to give a page. Okay, let us say stacks. Okay, I'm browsing, but be sure always that there is a no copyright violation. So this page I want to include as a material. I can right click here and I can see the view page source. When I give view page source, I'll give this get this content, press Control A, then Control C, copy it, and in the page here, what you can do is you can put it here, Control V. Okay, so it becomes embed. So this is I have added a page. See, there is an option here for admin user. You can always switch role to see how the page will look for the students also. So when you switch the role to student, how he will view the pages, he will get like this. And when he enters this, he'll be able to view the web page. So you can see this is embedded in the website itself. It doesn't go outside the website. So by using that HTML editor, we are able to do that. Okay. So now again, I am switching my role to normal user. So it is in admin user. I have to switch into something is there. Okay. Okay. Now we will also see how to add the content. I think some website is slow. Okay. So now you can see how the course appears for the student. Okay. We need to add many other things. So like this, by giving these information to the student, it will be helpful. Okay. So now we can just see how we can add the other things. One of the more important thing is we need to add the uh, videos. So when we are adding the videos also, so return to the normal mode. So when I return to the normal mode, one more important thing to be noticed is when we are adding the YouTube video, okay, so check whether it is a Creative Commons license. So find out the Creative Commons license videos and then you try to add it. So when you are adding it, so here I am adding data structures, the data structures. So as I said, we try to use the filter with Creative Commons. It's already there. Okay. So now suppose I want to add this. I said stacks. I want to use a video on stacks. Okay. So what I will do is when I open the video, I will get the video will be playing and so once I'll just skip this ad. Okay, skip the ad. When you right click the video, there is an option called copy embed code. Copy that. And then here what you do is, now I am going to add one more activity. So just check whether turn editing on. Make it as turn editing on. After making turn editing on, add an activity or resource. I'm going to add a URL. So add an URL. Okay, now after adding the URL, here you say video lecture. Here in this description, again this is a special editor for thing. Now give this, paste it, what we have done, the embed code, and then here you give the URL. I am copying the URL. Control C. Put the URL here. Save and return to the course. So once you give it, it will be embed into the thing. Okay, so we'll just see again. Edit the course. Okay, video lecture. So it is going to the website and then playing. So what I want is not like that. I want it to be, so I'll just make it as embedded inside the course. So editing on. Okay, editing is in on only. So edit this, edit settings. So in this, I want to have it to be embed. Okay, so see here, this is the course. Copy, embed video. After copying, here, what you have to do is, this is a normal editor. We want to put it in an HTML tag. So click that, put that. Now you can see it doesn't go to the YouTube. Here itself it will be played. That is one thing which we have to do, because once they go to YouTube, they'll be distracted trying to see other things. So if we put it here, it will be better. So this is save and return to course. So like this, you can add any number of content to your course. So we have seen how to add a web page, how to add a video lecture. Other things are very easy. You can try to add your own PDF, PPT. You have your video channel, put it from that video channel. You can try to put a lecture into it. So a student, he will get all the information for the course in this itself. Right, in Genomio, how to create a course and how to put content into the course, whatever is already available or whatever we have prepared, that can be and put into the course material. And we have also stressed the importance of using open educational resources. The most important thing now is we have to assign users, and we have to enroll the students to the course. Then only our course will be viewed and it will be very effective. So now we will see how to add the users into the course. So first of all, for doing that, when we try to, we can do it as a bulk one, so that we have many users data in a single file, and we can try to upload that. So for example, here I have a file with the username, password, first name, last name, email ID and course. So I have created some mail IDs so that we can check, and password, first name, last name. Anyhow, every time once the user gets created, when he enters for the first time, he will be prompted for a password change. So he can definitely use that and change his password. So once you enter the data of all the students, we have to save it in a CSV file, that is commas separated, delimited file. Then only we can upload it. So in this, if you see, we have to avoid unnecessary blank spaces, and we have to create this. So username can be any username and password, and the student, once we give the username and password to the student and the website, they can definitely enter and start using the courses. The username has to be unique. That's why it is always better to go for a mail ID. So apart from this, whatever information we want to have it in our Moodle with respect to the students for the course, we can have all those datas here. Okay, so here we have a username, password, first name, last name, email. Courses, just I have given, it's a chemistry course like that I have given. So once you do it, you have to save it as a CSV file. Okay, so CSV file. So comma separated file. So once you, after you do it, we can use this file. So this removes the burden of adding each and every file, say every user separately. So once we do that, now you can see we come to the here dashboard, and we have the site administration. In site administration, we have users. So when we go to users, we have upload users. So in upload, when you click the upload users, you will have a choose file option where you have to choose the file or drag and drop. So I am choosing a file, choose file. I have put it as data structures, yeah, username CSV. So open, upload, and some other data are asked, how many users per euros, how many we want, like that. So we upload it. So now you can see, we will not now concentrate on these status and all, because already we have entered the same values. That's why it is getting. Okay, so duplicate. Previously I have added, so we are getting like this. So once you upload it, you can change the settings. For example, you can change, add one password, create password if needed, like that and all. And if you want other information also, we can give. For example, give some ID for the course, institution name, department. So all these things can be entered, and once we do it, we have to upload the users. So now we have uploaded the users. There are many users in that. And after entering the users, the next thing is we need to enroll the users in particular course. So these are the group of users which have been added to our website. So in this, some users may be enrolling for some courses, another set of users may be enrolling for another courses. So we have to go for site home. In site home, if you go, we can see the courses available. So now I will go to data structures and algorithms. So in this, if you see, again there is a setting button. There is an option called more. In this, when you click the end users, there is a enrollment method. So you click it. When you click the enrollment methods, here you will have, this is okay. I am allowing self enrollment. Usually it will be disabled. Now once you make it enable, you will get, okay, we can go for self enrollment. This is just shifting this order. So after that, you can, so when you give self enrollment, what happens is the user will enter using his username and password. And once he enters in through his username and password, he will get an option called switch role. Sorry, he will get say enroll. So when he enrolls, uh, he can do it on his phone. So each user, whoever wants to enroll, what he will do is, uh, okay, so for course it is not allowing. So the only thing what we can do is, we have to log in through the user and try to see what happens. Okay, so that is the option available. Now coming to other manual methods. So here if you see, again in the system, sorry, say in the site administration, okay, in the site administration, we also have options for adding users. So this is enrollment methods. This is in site home. Now when you go for when you go for this thing, I'm just trying to move this site administration. So when you go for site administration, you can always add more number of users. So site administration, uh, in users, if you see, there are also options for add a new user. So we can also add a new user here, give some name for them, and then force password change and try to add it. So we can add the users as a bulk, and then we can also add it as a okay. I think it will not allow me to be a user. Okay, so it's giving an error. So we have to try to use some other. Okay. So whatever mail ID I give, no, they will get a message saying that you have been enrolled as an user for this website. So there are two ways. Let us be very clear. Or first of all, adding the users to the website. One is you keep a CSV file like this, okay, and then add any number of users. So you have to create a new file, save it as a CSV and put it, or you can add users one by one through this enroll user option. Every time they will enter, they will be asked to, first time they enter, they will be asked to change the password, then they can use it. So this is for the website. So when once there are 100, let us say there are some 60 students, we put the CSV 60, and then we may also add one more user outside from the students group. So after putting this, now we have to enroll these students into the courses. So for adding the courses, we have to go to site home. Okay, hope you are able to understand. Okay, so users to be added to the website. Second part is we have to enroll them into our particular course. Okay, so when you go to the course, we have to now enroll them. Okay, so for enrolling them, we go for this more. Okay, and then we have to go for users. Now you see enrolled users. Okay, so enrolled users, we don't have nothing to display here. So now we have to enroll the users. Okay, so you have to select the users and enroll them. Okay, enroll users. So once you enroll them, you can see in the participants list there are two students and they have been enrolled. Okay, so students may get enrolled through their putting their login id and password and doing self enrollment, or we can also make them enroll in the course by selecting the complete list. So okay, I'm giving enroll users. Okay. Again, one more user can be added, whoever is not being added, so I am adding it. Okay, so like this we have to add the users. So hope I am clear with this. We have to add the users to the website. The website addition can be through the bulk or individual. For doing bulk, we need the CSV file. From the CSV file we store it, so users will be created. And other option is one by one we can enter, which is somewhat tedious, but we try to use that also. So these are the adding the users. And the second part is enrolling the users to the corresponding course. So for example, here I have the two courses, digital forensics as well as data structures and algorithms. I have added these three people only to the data structures course. So for enrolling, we have the manual enroll method or self-enrollment method. Self-enrollment method means once the students they enter the username and password, they will be getting a screen and they will be asked to enroll for the course. So once they enroll the course, we can approve it. Or the other way is we can enroll all the students on our own. So this is how we try to enroll the users. Student username, how our system is working, how our website or how our course is working. So for that, what we have to do is when we try to give the username and password in our normal browser, we will get an error saying that you want to leave. Currently, you are in an admin. You want to leave, like that. It will ask. So what you have to do is when you click this three dots, there will be an option called New in Private Window, or in some browser we call it as Cognito window. So by we can, when you give that cognito window, you can have multiple access to the same thing. Okay, so this is very important for checking. I wanted to tell that. Okay, so for example here I want to check whether the by giving my username and password of student and check how it is working. So for that, when I try to just give open new tab or open new window, it will be a problem. Okay, it will give an error saying that you want to leave the admin. So I use a open private window option, or in Chrome I can give a option called cognito window. So when I give that, and I can try to check how my system is working. So now I'm giving my student password. So you can see here I have entered through the user name vnbtrial2 at gmail.com, which we have created, and I have given for that the password as something. Okay, so now I will have to give a new password. The password must have at least 8 characters, one digit, one lowercase. So I'm giving one password. So only if we are able to check side by side how it is working, it will be better. If it's something wrong, I'll change the password. So it should be one caps. So always keep checking from the user student login also. So now when I enter, you can see I password has been changed. Continue. Okay. Now I can see I have a dashboard and site home. So I have got the percent. I will be able to view the progress. So the name I have given as BB, like that. Okay, so that's why I'm getting like this. Okay, so you can also check by using this incognito window, or we call it as a private new private window. CSV as well as individual users. After that, we have seen how to enroll the users into particular courses. We have also seen how to open parallel window through using incognito tab or the in private tab, so that we can have a feel of how our courses look to the students by using some username and mail ID of the student. The digital teaching learning will be complete only if we are able to do some assessment in this also. Okay, so now we are going to see how to create assessments to the courses. So we are in particular trying to use how to assignments as well as quiz program. So first I will let you know how to do it for assignment. I have already created one assignment here. So if you want, you can have an assignment in the beginning of the course itself. first let us check whether the editing is on. So our editing is on, so we can proceed. So in the topic you can have a activity, select assignment, and then add the assignment. Once you add the assignment, it will ask different fields like what is the mode of submission, whether you want to have a online submission or any files will be accepted, what will be the grading for the assignment, and how do we grade, what is the maximum number of uh, assignments, maximum number of submissions allowed, like this. Okay, so I am telling mm, practical uh, stats. Okay, stats. So my question is, let us say we will have something like comparing stacks and queues. Okay, so like this I can give. And then what is the submission time? I have allowed from 14. So default it is 1 week. We can change it if we want. And then what is the submission? Whether we want to have it as an online text or whether we can have it as a mm, any file. Okay, so that we can check. Okay. Word limit, how much we want, whether we want to have a 50 word limit or 100 limit, like that. So it is disabled because we have not chosen the online text as the thing. Okay, we have chosen online text. Okay, once we choose the online text, we can enable this, how much word limit we want. Okay, 50 words, like this we can give. So other data can be given, what is the grading options we want. Okay, whether we want to have it as 100, 50, like that. So we can give the grading 10 marks. What is the pass mark? Grade to pass, something like this. Save and return to the course. So one more important assessment, we can always try, so many assessment methods are there. One more assessment method is we have to go for using the quiz programs. So for quiz, this is the structure we have to use. We have to give the question followed by followed by options. It should be in capital letters, and then it should be like this. There should be a blank space. The correct answer should be given like answer colon. Okay, so this is how we do. We have to create. So you can also uh, create a web page, sorry, in a Word document, all the questions, and you can include it. That is also possible. So once you do have the question bank ready, we can always include that in our course. So what we will do is we will try to add an activity called quiz program. Okay, and in that quiz we can directly import the file, the file which we have stored as a plain text. So what we have to do is, this format is called as icon format. So when we upload the file, you choose the icon format and then upload the file. So once we upload the file, after that what we have to do is we have to link it to our link the question bank to our as activity, so that we get the questions. In that also there are so many options like shuffling the question or having a new question, random questions like that. There are some options which we can use it effectively. Okay, so you can see I have included two things. Maybe there was some hitch, so that's why it has come like that. Now again, for you can see for another here I'm adding another activity. In that activity I'm adding quiz program. Okay, and then I'm saying okay, add the quiz. So when I add the quiz, so as I told you, have your text file ready with these things. That is, you should have here itself I have given note space after colon. A, B, C, D must be capital. Answer must be capital. Okay, so I think after question it should be a space. So by following this only you will be able to uh, use this question bank for your thing. Okay. Okay. Adding the quiz thing. This is the window of the student. You can see it shows what are the things which are due. Practical stats is due. There is a assignment which has to be completed. So these things are shown. So when the user enters into it, he will have a question. Okay, now you have not made a submission. Add submission. So you have to enter the compare stacks and queue. We can put stacks, stackers, last in, first out, and queue is. So this is how the student window will look. We will be listed with all the assignments which are due with all the deadlines, and he has to complete the assignment. So this is how it will look. Okay, save changes. Okay, so it has been submitted for grading. Now when you see the uh, user thing, okay, so in this you can identify what is the status, how many of them have submitted, like that you can submit. Okay, you can check. Okay, anybody try, this was the student. Okay, so he has submitted the assignment. So what grades they are getting, we can put it here. Okay. So as we explore, we can see so many options available. Grade history, what are the, we can change the grades, how it represent, all those things as per our thing, we can customize it. Okay. So the one more thing which is to be given is how to add a quiz activity. So you can see we can add an activity as before. So add an activity, select the quiz option. Okay, select the quiz option and select the activity. So now it is giving what is the thing. Okay, so simple or base simple quiz, you can say simple quiz, and give a description to test basic knowledge. Whether we have to display on the course page like this, we have to give. Okay, and what is the timing when we want them to be submitted. Okay, when the quiz will be open and when it will be closed. Okay, we can give that. Okay, one day we can give, for example. and time limit for taking up the quiz, how much time we are giving, 10 minutes like that. Okay, and, whether we are giving any uh, grace period, what is the grading we are giving, okay, how to grade pass like that. Okay, so all these things we can give, and we can try to uh, give all the details. Layout of the questions. So you can see I have given quiz to be opened on 14th and quiz to be closed on 15th. The time limit I have given, whether we are giving any grace period. So only that can be given only if I can give this. That is a grace period. And then how many grade to pass, for example, 5. This is in each questions, how many questions to be displayed. 2 questions in one, or if you can give this option, all questions will be coming in the same thing. Then question behaviors, where we can change the shuffle. This is once the quiz is over, whether we are going to a deferred one, what is the, we are giving any feedback like that. So we are going to show the image like this. Okay. So you can customize whichever way you want. For example, if he gets 100%, I want to give this feedback. If he gets less than this, we can give this like that. We can give. Okay. So, so save and return. So as we have seen, we have already stored the questions in one sample file. Okay. So it has to be very, the format has to be very correct. If it is not so, we have a problem. I have given all the fields. Okay. So all data has been given. Okay. So I have given the sample quiz. Okay. So now, what is the format of the quiz we have given? Now the quiz structure, what are the things have been given, and we have also given the uh, questions are available in the text. Now we have to put it into the question bank. So what we do is we go to site administration. So we have seen the use of quiz. So next what we have to do is we have to actually include our question bank in this. So how do we get it? In DSA, when you click this icon, you have the more. In more, you will get the option for question bank. When you scroll down, in that you go for import option. When you import, use the icon format which I have told you, it's a plain text. Then you can add the file. So upload the file in this. I'm using the same file. So actually, if you will see three sets of same questions because I have uploaded thrice. So once you import it, you will get the questions. So you can see what is two questions are being imported. So when you give continue option, you can see that there you can see now actually so many there is a repetition of question because I have uploaded from the question bank, so we can delete it. So like this you can uh, try to have the questions in from the question bank, or you can also have create your own question. So this question can be of any of these types. It can be a multiple choice, true or false. So suppose I choose a multiple choice question, so I can try to include that question also in my quiz program. So like this, I can add any number of questions and complete the assessment. So this is what happens, and so now we have seen that we can have a. So this is a sample window for creating a multiple choice question: name, text, what is the default mark, how many answers are there, choice 1, choice 2, which is the correct answer we have to give, and if we need any feedback we have to do it. Okay, so this is how we complete the quiz session. So we have seen how to create a Genomio website, and in the website how to put the different courses, for each course how to put the material, use open educational resources or common creative license softwares, media, etc., and then enroll the students. Before enrolling the students, add the students to the website, and accordingly to the different courses you can add on design, develop, and delivering the digital content. Hope it was useful to you. Thank you for your listening. I thank the management, principal, faculty members, and IQAC for giving me this opportunity to share whatever I have known. Thank you. Thank you very much.